Hey there, road trippers! The RV lifestyle became a huge part of American culture during the 1950s to the 1970s, promising adventure and freedom on the open road. But not every motorhome from this era delivered on those dreams. In fact, some of them were mechanical nightmares with poor designs and unreliable performance. So buckle up as we take a look at the 15 worst American RVs and motorhomes from the 1950s through the 1970s. The 1955 Ford motorhome represented one of the earliest attempts to bring the concept of a mass-produced recreational vehicle, RV, to the American public, a novel idea at the time. In post-war America, families were beginning to embrace the open road and the allure of long road trips, and automakers saw an opportunity to cater to this growing desire for mobility and adventure. Ford, with its reputation for innovation, sought to capitalize on this trend by introducing a motorhome that could combine the convenience of a home on wheels with the utility of a truck. However, despite its forward-thinking intentions, the 1955 Ford motorhome turned out to be more of a clunky experiment than a truly practical vehicle for long-distance travel. One of the Ford motorhome's most significant drawbacks was its heavy, truck-based chassis. Built on a modified version of Ford's truck platform, the motorhome was designed to handle the weight of its living quarters, but the chassis was simply too heavy for the engine it was paired with. The result was a lumbering, sluggish vehicle that struggled to keep up with the demands of the open road. On highways, the motorhome's underpowered engine, which was often a modest V8, couldn't provide the necessary torque to maintain consistent speeds, especially when loaded with passengers, supplies, and camping gear. Hills and inclines presented an even greater challenge, with many drivers reporting that their Ford motorhomes would crawl at a snail's pace when faced with even moderate gradients. The poor performance of the engine was compounded by the motorhome's sheer bulk. Maneuvering the vehicle on narrow roads or in tight spaces was a daunting task, even for experienced drivers. The steering was heavy and unresponsive, and the oversized body made it difficult to navigate through urban areas or campgrounds. Backing up or turning around required a great deal of patience and often assistance from another person guiding the driver. This made what should have been leisurely road trips feel like stressful ordeals. For a vehicle designed to offer freedom and flexibility on the road, the Ford motorhome frequently left drivers feeling constrained and frustrated. Another issue that plagued the 1955 Ford motorhome was its rough build quality. Unlike modern RVs, which are meticulously engineered for both comfort and durability, the early Ford motorhomes felt more like cobbled-together experiments. The interiors were Spartan, with basic amenities that felt more like afterthoughts than well-designed features. The cabinetry was often poorly constructed, and the fixtures, such as sinks, counters, and beds, were flimsy and prone to wear and tear. The materials used in the interior were not built to withstand the rigors of the road, and many owners reported rattling, shaking, and even pieces of the interior breaking off while driving. For a vehicle meant to serve as a mobile home, the lack of sturdiness was a major letdown. On top of these mechanical and structural shortcomings, the 1955 Ford motorhome lacked the kind of modern conveniences that would become standard in later RVs. There were no advanced plumbing systems, climate controls, or kitchen amenities that could turn a motorhome into a true home away from home. Instead, it offered only the bare essentials, with cramped sleeping arrangements and a small kitchenette that was difficult to use in practice. In an era when luxury and comfort were increasingly becoming selling points for recreational vehicles, the Ford motorhome's bare-bones approach felt outdated and inadequate. Despite its shortcomings, the 1955 Ford motorhome did pave the way for the evolution of the RV industry. Its release demonstrated that there was genuine interest in the concept of a self-contained mobile home, and it set the stage for future innovations in motorhome design and engineering. However, in its own time, the Ford motorhome failed to deliver on its promise of adventure and convenience. The cumbersome handling, weak engine, and poor build quality left many buyers disappointed, turning what should have been carefree road trips into grueling challenges. As time went on, other manufacturers would take the lessons learned from early models like the 1955 Ford motorhome and apply them to more advanced and user-friendly RVs. Improved engines, lighter materials, and more thoughtful interior designs helped transform motorhomes into the well-equipped, comfortable vehicles that families could rely on for vacations and long journeys. In hindsight, the Ford motorhome of 1955 stands as an early attempt to innovate in a new market. The Shasta Airflight, a vintage travel trailer now celebrated for its retro charm and distinct canned ham design, wasn't always viewed so fondly. When the 1959 model first rolled off production lines, it promised a lightweight, affordable option for the post-war camping boom. However, beneath its cheerful exterior, it was plagued with numerous issues that made it a headache for owners, especially those looking to take it on serious camping trips. While today it's a symbol of mid-century Americana, back in 1959, the Shasta Airflight had more than its fair share of challenges. One of the most notorious problems with the 1959 Shasta Airflight was its tendency for roof leaks. Despite its sturdy-looking aluminum shell, the trailer's construction often left gaps and weak points in the seams and seals, allowing rainwater to seep inside. This was particularly frustrating for owners who wanted to take their trailers out in varied weather conditions. The leaking roof not only made the inside of the trailer damp and uncomfortable, but also led to long-term issues like mold, mildew, and wood rot. For campers who expected a cozy, weatherproof shelter, the reality of constantly battling water intrusion quickly soured their experience. Poor insulation was another significant flaw in the 1959 Shasta Airflight. While it was advertised as an all-season trailer, the insulation was minimal at best, offering little protection against cold or heat. In cooler weather, the interior could become uncomfortably cold, while in the heat of summer, the lack of proper ventilation and insulation turned the small space into an oven. This made it difficult for campers to rely on the Shasta for anything other than trips in ideal conditions. The trailer was far from the cozy, climate-controlled space that many modern RVs would later offer, and it left owners feeling exposed to the elements. The interior of the 1959 Shasta Airflight, though charming with its vintage style and compact design, was also prone to problems. Many of the fixtures and fittings inside were made from cheap materials that didn't hold up well under regular use. Cabinet doors would come loose, hinges would break, and countertops could easily be damaged. The small kitchen area, while functional on paper, often felt cramped and difficult to use, especially if anything needed repair or replacement. Campers frequently complained about drawers that wouldn't stay shut while driving, or cabinets that warped after just a short period of use. While the Shasta Airflight was designed to be affordable, it became clear that corners had been cut in the production process. The lightweight materials that made the trailer easy to tow also made it less durable. In rough conditions, whether on unpaved roads or during inclement weather, the Airflight didn't hold up well. Its frame, though adequate for leisurely weekend trips, often showed signs of wear after extended use, and owners found themselves dealing with a constant stream of minor repairs to keep it roadworthy. Despite these issues, the 1959 Shasta Airflight did have its redeeming qualities. Its compact size and low weight made it easy to tow, even for smaller vehicles, and its playful, retro design, with its distinctive wings on the back, turned heads at campgrounds. It was an affordable option for the burgeoning middle class looking to embrace the freedom of the open road, and for many families, it offered their first taste of mobile living. But for all its nostalgic charm, the Airflight's flaws made it a frustrating option for those seeking durability and reliability in a travel trailer. Over the years, the Shasta Airflight's reputation has evolved. While its construction quality and performance may have been lacking in its heyday, the trailer's vintage aesthetic has made it a sought-after collector's item today. Restorations and modern updates have allowed vintage trailer enthusiasts to preserve the Airflight's iconic look while addressing the issues that plagued the original models. What was once a symbol of budget-conscious camping has now become a symbol of Americana, celebrated more for its design than its functionality. Looking back, the 1959 Shasta Airflight serves as a reminder of the growing pains in the early years of mass-produced travel trailers. It's a classic example of a product that was ahead of its time in concept, but behind the curve in execution. While it may have been difficult to own back in the day, its charm has endured, cementing its place in RV history as a beloved, if flawed, icon of mid-century travel. Airstream has long been synonymous with sleek, silver travel trailers that evoke a sense of adventure and freedom, and few models are as iconic as the 1963 Airstream Bambi. Compact, lightweight, and designed to be towed by smaller vehicles, the Bambi quickly earned a reputation for its charming, retro design. However, for all its appeal, the 1963 Bambi wasn't without its flaws. As with many early models of any new venture, the Bambi's initial release had its share of growing pains that challenged its practicality for long-term travel. Despite the brand's otherwise stellar reputation, the most obvious drawback of the 1963 Airstream Bambi was its compact size. While the idea of a smaller, more maneuverable trailer appealed to many buyers, the trade-off came in the form of cramped living quarters. At just 16 feet long, the Bambi's interior space was tight, even by Airstream standards. For couples or small families hoping to enjoy extended stays on the road, the lack of room quickly became a challenge. The limited space made it difficult to move around freely, and storage options were sparse. Even the basic tasks of cooking, eating, and sleeping required a fair amount of compromise, and the cozy charm that initially drew people in could over time become a source of frustration. The interior layout of the early Bambi models was also less than ideal. Although Airstream has since become known for its smart, efficient use of space, the 1963 Bambi was an early attempt at condensing the brand's classic design into a smaller footprint, and the results weren't always successful. The small kitchenette, while functional, left little counter space for food preparation, and the dining area, which doubled as the sleeping area, could feel cramped. Additionally, the tiny bathroom space, if the model had one at all, was often too small for comfortable use. In many cases, owners found themselves compromising on comfort and convenience, particularly when it came to staying in the Bambi for extended periods. Beyond the issue of size and layout, the 1963 Bambi had more serious problems that affected its usability. Electrical system failures were a common complaint among early owners. The trailer's wiring, while serviceable for basic functions, was prone to issues that could result in flickering lights, malfunctioning outlets, or even complete electrical failures. These problems became especially troublesome for campers who relied on the Bambi for extended road trips or more self-sufficient, off-grid living. Electrical reliability is a crucial factor for any travel trailer, and the early Bambi models left many owners dealing with inconvenient and frustrating repairs. Water leakage was another major issue in the 1963 Airstream Bambi. Like many trailers of its era, the Bambi was not immune to problems with sealing, particularly around windows, doors, and seams in the aluminum shell. Water intrusion was a persistent complaint, especially in areas with heavy rainfall or high humidity. Over time, these leaks could lead to more severe problems, such as wood rot, mold, and interior damage. The constant battle against water leakage made it difficult for some owners to use the Bambi as a reliable long-term travel option, especially in challenging weather conditions. For a trailer designed to evoke the spirit of freedom and adventure, these problems could quickly dampen the experience, literally. Despite these issues, the 1963 Airstream Bambi did retain some of the brand's classic strengths. Its lightweight design made it easier to tow than many larger models, and its aerodynamic aluminum body helped with fuel efficiency, a key selling point at a time when gas-guzzling vehicles were the norm. For those willing to overlook the trailer's limitations, the Bambi still offered a sense of charm and adventure, making it a popular choice for shorter trips and weekend getaways. The exterior, with its signature riveted aluminum shell, provided a sleek, futuristic look that helped solidify Airstream's place as an iconic brand. Over time, Airstream learned from the shortcomings of the 1963 Bambi, addressing many of the issues in subsequent models. Improvements in layout design, better electrical systems, and enhanced insulation and sealing techniques have made modern Airstreams far more reliable and comfortable for extended use. The Bambi's legacy lives on in the compact models that Airstream continues to produce today, but with the benefit of decades of refinement and innovation. While the 1963 Airstream Bambi had its flaws, it remains a beloved piece of Airstream history, symbolizing a time when travel trailers were beginning to capture the imagination of a growing group of adventurers. Its vintage appeal and compact design continue to attract enthusiasts and collectors, many of whom lovingly restore these early models to their former glory, often with modern upgrades to address the very issues that once plagued the original. The 1957 Oasis travel trailer, like many of its contemporaries, was born out of the post-war American dream of hitting the open road for adventure. It was designed to be a compact, affordable option for families who wanted a taste of mobile living without breaking the bank. On paper, it seemed like a great idea, a lightweight, easy-to-tow trailer with a simple, no-frills design. However, the reality for many owners was far less idyllic. What was meant to be an accessible entry into the world of travel trailers often turned into a frustrating experience due to its limitations and durability issues. One of the biggest drawbacks of the 1957 Oasis was its small size. While compact trailers can offer charm and practicality, the Oasis pushed the boundaries of minimalism a bit too far. The interior was tight, with just enough room for basic amenities like a small bed, a tiny kitchenette, and minimal storage. This layout might have been sufficient for a solo traveler or a couple on short trips, but for families or those looking for extended stays, it quickly became uncomfortably cramped. The limited space meant that even simple tasks like preparing a meal or getting dressed could feel claustrophobic. The lack of interior space made the trailer unsuitable for anything beyond short trips in ideal conditions. Beyond the cramped living quarters, the trailer's lightweight construction, while helpful for towing, proved to be one of its most significant flaws. The materials used in the 1957 Oasis were not built to withstand the rigors of long-term travel. Owners frequently reported issues with the structural integrity of the trailer after only a few years of use. Rougher roads, which are inevitable on cross-country trips or rural getaways, exacerbated these issues. The trailer's frame, walls, and roof were prone to warping, bending, or even cracking under the strain of uneven terrain. In particular, the roof often suffered from leaks, allowing water to seep in and cause further damage to the interior. The lightweight construction also made the trailer vulnerable to damage in other ways. Wind gusts could make towing the Oasis a nerve-wracking experience, as its light frame didn't provide much stability. Additionally, the thin materials used for the trailer's exterior meant that dents, dings, and scratches were all too common, even from minor incidents. Owners often found themselves performing frequent repairs and patch jobs to keep the trailer in usable condition, further detracting from the affordable convenience that had initially attracted them to the Oasis. The interior fixtures in the 1957 Oasis, like the trailer's frame, were not particularly durable. Cabinet doors, countertops, and other fittings were often made from flimsy materials that couldn't hold up to the wear and tear of regular use. Many owners complained about cabinets coming loose, drawers that wouldn't stay closed, or countertops that chipped and scratched easily. These small annoyances added up over time, making the interior of the trailer feel less like a cozy retreat and more like a constant source of maintenance. Despite these issues, the 1957 Oasis did have some redeeming qualities. Its affordability was a major selling point, making it accessible to a wider range of buyers who might not have been able to afford larger, more luxurious models. It was also relatively easy to tow, thanks to its lightweight design, and could be pulled by smaller vehicles, which was a plus for many families who didn't want to invest in a large truck. Its compact size also made it easy to store, a benefit for those who didn't have the space for a full-size trailer or RV. Over the years, the Oasis has earned a place in vintage trailer history, more for its nostalgic charm than its performance. While it might not have been the most practical or durable trailer of its time, it still represents a key moment in the evolution of American road culture. Today, restored 1957 Oasis trailers are sometimes sought after by collectors and enthusiasts who appreciate their retro aesthetic and historical significance. However, those restoring these trailers often have to address the very issues that plagued the original owners, from reinforcing the structure to replacing water-damaged interiors. In hindsight, the 1957 Oasis serves as a reminder that budget-friendly design often comes with trade-offs. While it provided an affordable entry point into the world of travel trailers, the compromises in build quality and durability made it less than ideal for long-term or serious use. It's a story of ambition and accessibility, showing that even well-intentioned designs can fall short when real-world demands are placed on them. The Winnebago F17 was introduced at a time when the RV industry was experiencing a surge in popularity, and Winnebago was quickly becoming a household name. Known for creating affordable, family-friendly motorhomes, the company sought to position the F17 as a reliable and accessible option for families looking to embrace the freedom of the open road. However, the 1965 model proved to be a significant misstep for the brand, as it quickly earned a reputation for being one of the most problematic motorhomes of its era. One of the primary issues with the 1965 Winnebago F17 was its lack of power. The motorhome was equipped with an underpowered engine that struggled to keep up with the demands of highway driving, especially when fully loaded with passengers and gear. This made long road trips a frustrating experience for many owners, as the motorhome often struggled to maintain speed on hills or in heavy traffic. The constant need for more power made the F17 difficult to drive, particularly on extended trips where owners expected smooth performance and reliable handling. It was not uncommon for the motorhome to break down mid-journey, leaving owners stranded and frustrated with a vehicle that seemed ill-suited for the very purpose it was designed for. Adding to the frustration was the difficulty in sourcing replacement parts. Unlike some other RV manufacturers of the time, Winnebago's F17 model was not built with widely available components. This meant that when parts failed, as they frequently did, owners faced long waits and high costs for specialized repairs. Whether it was mechanical issues under the hood or problems with the RV's electrical systems, finding compatible parts became a nightmare for many owners. The availability of parts was so limited that it led to many motorhomes sitting idle for extended periods, forcing owners to cancel or postpone trips while waiting for repairs. This lack of serviceability greatly diminished the F17's appeal as a reliable travel option. Beyond the mechanical troubles, the interior design of the 1965 Winnebago F17 was another significant point of contention. The layout, which was intended to maximize space in the compact motorhome, ended up feeling poorly thought out and uncomfortable. The limited space inside made it difficult for families to move around freely, and the cramped quarters often felt claustrophobic, especially on longer trips. The sleeping arrangements were tight, and the small kitchen area offered little room for meal preparation, which became a hassle for anyone trying to use the RV for extended periods of time. Storage space was also lacking, making it hard to bring along the necessary supplies for a long road trip. The overall comfort of the F17 was another sore point. While Winnebago had marketed the motorhome as a cozy and convenient option for family vacations, the reality was far from that promise. The seating was often uncomfortable, with insufficient padding for long hours on the road, and the beds were small and awkwardly placed, making it hard to get a good night's sleep. These issues were compounded by the motorhome's poor insulation, which made it difficult to maintain a comfortable temperature inside, especially in extreme weather conditions. For owners who expected a relaxing and enjoyable experience, the F17's interior shortcomings were a major disappointment. Despite these issues, the Winnebago F17 did have a few redeeming qualities. Its relatively low price point made it an attractive option for first-time RV buyers, and its compact size made it easier to store and maneuver than some of the larger motorhomes of the time. For short trips or weekend getaways, the F17 could still offer a glimpse of the RV lifestyle without the significant investment required for a more robust model. However, for families looking for a dependable, long-term travel vehicle, the F17 fell far short of expectations. In retrospect, the 1965 Winnebago F17 serves as a cautionary tale in the RV world. While it carried the trusted Winnebago name, the model's flaws highlighted the risks of rushing a product to market without fully addressing its design and mechanical challenges. The underpowered engine, hard-to-find replacement parts, and poorly designed interior all contributed to the F17's downfall, leaving many owners disappointed with a motorhome that failed to live up to its potential. Winnebago would go on to learn from the mistakes of the F17, eventually producing more reliable and better engineered models that helped solidify the company's reputation as a leader in the RV industry. However, the 1965 F17 remains a reminder that even the biggest names can stumble, and that innovation, while necessary, must be balanced with practicality and quality if a product is to succeed in the long run. The 1956 Aljoa Sportsman was designed to be an affordable entry point for travelers who wanted a compact and mobile option for camping and road trips. However, while the idea of a small, budget-friendly trailer may have appealed to buyers in the post-war era, the reality of the Aljoa Sportsman was far from ideal. Built with cost-cutting in mind, the trailer quickly became known for its low-quality materials and poor craftsmanship, making it one of the more forgettable models of its time. One of the primary flaws of the 1956 Aljoa Sportsman was its construction. The frame and siding were notoriously prone to rust and water damage, making the trailer difficult to maintain even with regular upkeep. Unlike higher-end trailers of the time that used more durable materials, the Aljoa Sportsman was constructed using cheaper metal, which began to show signs of wear almost immediately. The lack of proper sealing around windows and seams made it especially vulnerable to water infiltration. Once water began to seep into the trailer, the interior quickly deteriorated, leading to warped wood, mildew, and in many cases, a complete loss of structural integrity. In addition to the rust and water damage, the Aljoa Sportsman's overall build quality left much to be desired. The craftsmanship was far below what was offered by other brands at the time, and this became painfully clear when owners took their trailers on the road. The lightweight construction, while making the trailer easy to tow, also made it fragile. Bumpy roads or rough terrain could cause parts of the trailer to shake loose or even break entirely. The siding in particular was often poorly fitted, leading to gaps and rattling that worsened over time. It wasn't uncommon for owners to have to perform regular repairs just to keep the trailer roadworthy, leading to frustration for those who had expected a simple, hassle-free travel experience. The interior of the Aljoa Sportsman was equally disappointing. Amenities were minimal, even for a trailer of its size and price range. The kitchenette was cramped, with barely enough space to prepare a meal, and the sleeping quarters were small and uncomfortable. Storage space was almost non-existent, forcing owners to either pack light or leave essential items behind. The lack of modern conveniences made the trailer less attractive to families or travelers looking for even a modest level of comfort on the road. Moreover, the sparse interior design was coupled with the fact that many of the fixtures and furnishings were cheaply made. Cabinet doors would often come loose, and countertops or other surfaces could easily chip or scratch. With such limited durability, many Aljoa Sportsman trailers did not survive long, especially if they were used for more than just the occasional weekend getaway. Frequent repairs and replacements were common, but because the overall structure was so fragile, these repairs often only provided a temporary solution. The trailer's lightweight build and minimal amenities made it an impractical choice for long-term or extended use. Owners who ventured on longer trips often found themselves dealing with breakdowns, leaks, or discomfort, leading to a less than enjoyable travel experience. Given the trailer's tendency to succumb to the elements, most models did not survive for long, with many being scrapped after only a few years of use. Rust, water damage, and general wear and tear rendered many of these trailers unfit for continued use, and few have made it into the modern era as vintage collector's items. Despite its many flaws, the Aljoa Sportsman was a product of its time, representing a segment of the market that prioritized affordability over long-term quality. In the 1950s, as more Americans embraced road trips and camping, there was a demand for lower-cost options that allowed more people to participate in the growing trend. The Aljoa Sportsman filled that niche, but it did so at the expense of reliability and durability. What seemed like an affordable, practical choice on the showroom floor quickly turned into a liability on the open road. In hindsight, the 1956 Aljoa Sportsman is often remembered more as a cautionary tale than as a symbol of mid-century travel culture. Its fragile build, combined with its susceptibility to the elements, meant that few of these trailers stood the test of time. For those who own them, the experience often involved more time spent on repairs and maintenance than on the adventure of the open road. While other trailers of the era, like the Airstream, have become iconic for their durability and timeless design, the Aljoa Sportsman remains largely forgotten, overshadowed by its own shortcomings. The 1970 Holiday Rambler was initially marketed as a stylish and convenient motorhome, designed to offer a compact yet comfortable way to travel for families and adventurers alike. Its sleek exterior, modern design, and promise of easy handling made it seem like an ideal choice for those looking to hit the open road. However, the dream of carefree travel quickly turned into a frustrating reality for many owners, as the vehicle's performance and reliability fell far short of expectations. One of the primary issues that plagued the 1970 Holiday Rambler was its engine. Despite its compact design, the motorhome was underpowered, which caused significant problems, especially when climbing hills or towing additional weight. The engine frequently overheated, and breakdowns were common on long trips. Many owners found themselves stuck on the side of the road, dealing with costly repairs and delays. These engine problems were compounded by the fact that the vehicle often struggled to maintain highway speeds, making it difficult and sometimes dangerous to drive in high-traffic areas. In addition to engine trouble, the Holiday Rambler suffered from poor handling, which made driving the RV an exhausting and nerve-wracking experience. The suspension system was not well designed to handle the weight of the vehicle, leading to a bumpy ride on anything other than perfectly smooth roads. Crosswinds, sharp turns, or uneven surfaces could send the motorhome swaying, making it difficult to control. This lack of stability was particularly concerning for those traveling long distances, as constant adjustments were required to keep the vehicle on course. For many, what was supposed to be a relaxing trip became an exercise in concentration and endurance. The Holiday Rambler's problems didn't end with its mechanical shortcomings. Owners also faced a myriad of electrical issues that added to the RV's growing list of frustrations. The wiring was often unreliable, leading to frequent short circuits or malfunctions in the lighting, air conditioning, and other essential systems. In some cases, the electrical problems were severe enough to leave the motorhome without power in the middle of a trip, forcing owners to either repair the issues themselves or find a technician willing to work on the vehicle, a task that was often easier said than done given the model's poor reputation. Compounding the technical issues, the interior of the 1970 Holiday Rambler, though initially appealing, quickly revealed itself to be less durable than advertised. While the design was sleek and modern for the time, the materials used were subpar, leading to rapid wear and tear. Cabinetry was prone to coming loose, and many of the fixtures, such as door latches and drawers, were cheaply made, breaking after just a few uses. The small living space, which had been one of the vehicle's selling points, became a cramped and uncomfortable environment after long hours on the road, particularly when dealing with the constant need for repairs. For many owners, the Holiday Rambler became a symbol of broken promises. The initial allure of a stylish, compact motorhome quickly faded as the reality of frequent breakdowns and high repair costs set in. Instead of offering freedom and adventure, the 1970 Holiday Rambler often became a financial burden. The cost of maintaining the vehicle, with constant trips to the mechanic for engine, electrical, and handling issues, was far higher than anticipated, making it a poor investment for those looking to enjoy the RV lifestyle. Despite these numerous drawbacks, the 1970 Holiday Rambler did have a loyal following of owners who were willing to overlook the vehicle's flaws for the sake of adventure. Some found ways to modify or repair their motorhomes to make them more reliable, while others embraced the challenge of maintaining their vehicles as part of the travel experience. For those who managed to keep their motorhomes running, the Holiday Rambler could still provide a glimpse of the open road and the freedom that came with it. However, for most, the headaches far outweighed the benefits, and the 1970 model has largely been remembered as one of the weaker entries in Holiday Rambler's otherwise reputable line of motorhomes. In the end, the 1970 Holiday Rambler serves as a reminder that even promising designs can fall flat without the necessary engineering and quality control behind them. What could have been a stylish and reliable motorhome instead became a source of frustration for many travelers. overshadowing the potential for adventure with constant mechanical and electrical issues. Today, the 1970 model is more of a cautionary tale in the world of RVs, a reminder that looks aren't everything when it comes to hitting the road. The Spartan Manor, with its polished aluminum exterior and sleek, streamlined design, was undeniably eye-catching. Introduced in the post-World War II era, these trailers quickly became symbols of luxury and sophistication for the growing American middle class. With its aviation-inspired aesthetic, the Spartan Manor looked more like a piece of art than a simple travel trailer, and its shiny, mirror-like finish stood out on any campground. However, despite its outward appeal, the Spartan Manor's performance and reliability left much to be desired, making it a frustrating choice for those seeking both style and functionality. One of the primary challenges faced by Spartan Manor owners was the trailer's weight. While the aluminum exterior gave it a modern and upscale look, the trailer was much heavier than many of its contemporaries. Towing the Spartan Manor required a robust vehicle, often putting strain on the engines and transmissions of even the larger cars and trucks of the era. This made long-distance travel a hassle, as many vehicles struggled to handle the trailer's size and weight. Hills, in particular, posed a major challenge, with vehicles frequently overheating or breaking down while trying to pull the trailer up steep inclines. For those dreaming of cross-country road trips or remote camping adventures, the Spartan Manor's bulk became a serious obstacle. In addition to the towing difficulties, the Spartan Manor had significant electrical issues that plagued its reputation. The wiring system in these trailers was notoriously unreliable, with frequent failures reported by owners. Lights would flicker or stop working altogether, appliances would malfunction, and in some cases, entire electrical systems would short out, leaving owners in the dark. The Spartan Manor's electrical problems were particularly frustrating because they often occurred at the worst possible times, such as when parked at a campsite in the middle of a trip. Repairing these systems was also a challenge, as the wiring was difficult to access and required specialized knowledge to fix, meaning costly repairs and frequent trips to technicians. Beyond the electrical issues, the Spartan Manor was also poorly insulated, making it unsuitable for all but the most ideal camping conditions. While the aluminum exterior gave the trailer a futuristic look, it offered little in terms of temperature regulation. In hot weather, the trailer would quickly turn into a sauna, with the metal exterior trapping heat and making it almost unbearable inside. Conversely, in cooler weather, the trailer did little to retain warmth, forcing owners to rely heavily on space heaters or extra blankets to stay comfortable. This lack of insulation made the Spartan Manor ill-suited for year-round travel or camping in areas with fluctuating temperatures, limiting its use to fair weather outings. The Spartan Manor's interior, though stylish for its time, also had its shortcomings. While the layout was generally well-designed for comfort, many of the materials used in the construction of the interior were prone to wear and tear. Cabinet doors would come loose, upholstery would wear out quickly, and the fixtures were often cheaply made, leading to a need for frequent repairs. Over time, these small issues compounded, turning what was supposed to be a luxury experience into a constant maintenance project. Despite these flaws, the Spartan Manor still holds a place in the hearts of many vintage trailer enthusiasts, largely due to its iconic design. The trailer's polished aluminum exterior has become a symbol of the retro camping movement, and for those who have the means and patience to restore them, Spartan Manors can still be seen at vintage trailer rallies or used as stationary guest houses. However, for the average camper in the 1940s and 1950s, the trailer's looks could only go so far in offsetting the frequent mechanical and practical issues it presented on the road. In the end, while the Spartan Manor may have looked luxurious, its functionality and reliability often left much to be desired. Its heavy weight made it difficult to tow, and the constant electrical failures, combined with poor insulation, turned what should have been a comfortable travel experience into a series of challenges. For many owners, the Spartan Manor was a lesson in the importance of looking beyond appearances when choosing a travel trailer. Today, it stands as both a symbol of mid-century design and a reminder that even the most beautiful exteriors can hide serious flaws underneath. The Dodge Travco, a name once synonymous with adventure and exploration, enjoyed a significant following in the 1970s for its distinctive design and functional layout. The 1972 model in particular was touted as a spacious and versatile motorhome, ideal for families and travelers eager to hit the road. However, beneath its appealing exterior, the 1972 Dodge Travco was plagued by numerous issues that quickly soured the experience for many owners. One of the most significant problems with the 1972 Travco was its engine performance. Despite its robust appearance, the motorhome was plagued by frequent engine failures. The engine, which was intended to provide reliable power for long-distance travel, instead often struggled to maintain performance. Owners reported recurring issues such as overheating, poor acceleration, and an overall lack of power, which frequently left them stranded on the side of the road. These engine troubles not only disrupted travel plans but also resulted in substantial repair costs. For many, what was supposed to be an enjoyable road trip became a series of frustrating breakdowns and mechanical failures. Fuel efficiency was another major concern for the 1972 Travco. The motorhome's large size and heavy build contributed to a surprisingly poor fuel economy. Drivers found themselves making frequent stops at gas stations, often spending significantly more on fuel than they had anticipated. This lack of efficiency further compounded the Travco's issues, making it an expensive choice for extended travel and diminishing its appeal for those who sought a cost-effective way to explore the country. Inside the 1972 Dodge Travco, the promise of comfort and luxury quickly fell apart. The interior build quality was notably subpar, with cheap materials used throughout the motorhome. Upholstery was often made from low-quality fabrics that wore out quickly, and cabinetry was prone to coming loose or breaking. The fittings and fixtures, which were meant to add convenience and comfort, frequently failed or required constant maintenance. This low build quality meant that many owners found themselves dealing with ongoing repairs and replacements, detracting from the overall enjoyment of their travels. The design and layout of the interior, while spacious, also had its shortcomings. The Travco's design focused on maximizing space, but this sometimes came at the expense of practicality and comfort. The layout was often criticized for being awkward and poorly thought out, making it difficult to use the space efficiently. The lack of durable materials meant that the interior did not hold up well over time, and frequent repairs were necessary to keep the motorhome in usable condition. The combination of engine problems, poor fuel efficiency, and low-quality interior construction turned the 1972 Dodge Travco from a promising motorhome into a source of frustration for many of its owners. What could have been a reliable and enjoyable vehicle for road trips and vacations instead became a costly and troublesome investment. The Travco's reputation suffered as a result, and while the brand continued to produce motorhomes in subsequent years, the 1972 model remained a cautionary tale of how even popular and well-regarded products can fall short when it comes to quality and reliability. Today, the 1972 Dodge Travco serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by motorhome manufacturers in the 1970s. It highlights the importance of balancing design and aesthetics with practical engineering and quality construction. For enthusiasts and collectors, the Travco remains an interesting piece of RV history, but for those who experienced its issues firsthand, it is a reminder of the frustrations that can arise when a beloved product fails to live up to its promise. The 1969 Ford Condor was introduced as part of Ford's venture into the RV market, aiming to offer a blend of modern design and functional living space. Its sleek and contemporary exterior was intended to attract buyers looking for a stylish and updated motorhome. However, despite its appealing looks, the 1969 Condor quickly earned a reputation for its poor performance and mechanical reliability, making it one of Ford's most significant missteps in the RV sector. Under the hood, the 1969 Ford Condor was plagued by severe issues. The motorhome was widely criticized for its underpowered engine, which struggled to handle the vehicle's size and weight. This lack of sufficient power was a major drawback, particularly when the Condor was loaded with gear or when it was tasked with towing additional trailers. The engine's performance was particularly problematic during long trips or when driving up inclines, where the vehicle often struggled to maintain adequate speed and acceleration. This issue left many owners frustrated as the motorhome failed to deliver the performance that was promised by its stylish appearance. Compounding the engine problems, the Condor had a notorious tendency to overheat, especially in hot weather or during extended drives. The cooling system was inadequate for the demands placed on it by the engine and the motorhome's overall design. As a result, owners frequently encountered overheating issues, which led to engine failures and breakdowns on the road. This problem was particularly concerning during long journeys, where overheating could lead to significant delays and costly repairs. The persistent overheating issues rendered the Condor unreliable and challenging to drive in warmer climates, further diminishing its appeal as a road trip vehicle. The mechanical problems of the 1969 Ford Condor extended beyond just the engine and cooling system. The motorhome was also plagued by frequent breakdowns related to various other components, such as the transmission, suspension, and electrical systems. These issues created a pattern of continual maintenance and repairs, which proved to be both time-consuming and expensive for owners. Many found themselves frequently visiting repair shops, adding to the overall cost of ownership and detracting from the enjoyment of travel. Inside the 1969 Condor, the design was intended to offer a comfortable living space with modern amenities. However, the quality of construction and materials used in the interior did not live up to the motorhome's stylish exterior. The interior fixtures and furnishings were often prone to wear and tear, and many owners reported issues with cabinetry, upholstery, and other components falling apart or becoming damaged over time. This lack of durability only added to the frustration experienced by those who had invested in what was meant to be a luxury motorhome. The combination of underwhelming performance, frequent mechanical issues, and subpar interior quality led to the 1969 Ford Condor being remembered as a major failure in Ford's RV lineup. While it might have looked modern and attractive on the outside, the motorhome's numerous problems made it a challenging and often disappointing vehicle for its owners. The Condor's inability to deliver on its promises of performance and reliability meant that it quickly fell out of favor, overshadowed by more dependable and well-engineered alternatives. Today, the 1969 Ford Condor stands as a cautionary tale in the history of RVs, illustrating the pitfalls of focusing too heavily on style without adequately addressing performance and durability. For collectors and enthusiasts, it may represent a unique piece of automotive history, but for those who experienced its shortcomings firsthand, the Condor serves as a reminder of how important it is to balance aesthetics with practical engineering and reliability in any vehicle. The 1954 Anderson trailer is a notable entry in the early history of travel trailers, representing a time when the concept of mobile living was still in its formative stages. While it was among the pioneering designs of its era, the Anderson trailer quickly garnered a reputation for delivering more headaches than enjoyable road trips. One of the most significant issues with the 1954 Anderson trailer was its boxy design. While the trailer's angular shape was a reflection of the design trends of the time, it proved to be less than ideal for long-term use. The boxy design, coupled with a relatively lightweight construction, did not handle the rigors of travel well. Over time, the trailer's structure was prone to wear and tear, and the boxy shape contributed to aerodynamic drag, making towing more difficult and less efficient. The design's impact on stability and performance meant that many owners struggled with an uncomfortable and unstable towing experience, particularly on uneven or rough terrain. The suspension system of the Anderson trailer was another critical flaw. Designed to support the trailer's weight and provide a smooth ride, the suspension system fell short of expectations. It was inadequately designed for the demands of towing and often led to a jarring and uncomfortable ride. The poor suspension also contributed to excessive wear on the trailer's components and made handling difficult, especially on longer trips. The combination of a boxy design and a flawed suspension system made the Anderson trailer a challenging vehicle to tow, and many owners found themselves dealing with frequent adjustments and repairs. Leakage was another major issue with the 1954 Anderson trailer. The trailer was notorious for frequent leaks, particularly around windows and seams. These leaks not only compromised the interior comfort, but also posed a risk of damage to the trailer's structure and furnishings. Water ingress could lead to mold and mildew problems, further degrading the living conditions inside the trailer. The lack of effective weatherproofing and insulation meant that the Anderson trailer was less than ideal for camping in less than ideal weather conditions, and owners had to be vigilant about maintaining and repairing leaks to keep their trailer habitable. Ventilation was also a significant concern for the Anderson trailer. The trailer's design did not adequately address the need for proper airflow and ventilation, leading to issues with heat buildup and poor air quality inside. This problem was particularly pronounced in warmer climates, where the lack of ventilation could make the interior uncomfortably hot and stuffy. Without effective ventilation, the trailer's interior could quickly become unpleasant, detracting from the overall camping experience. Despite its pioneering status and the innovative spirit behind the 1954 Anderson trailer, the numerous issues it faced meant that it often fell short of providing the reliable and enjoyable travel experience that many owners hope for. The trailer's design and construction challenges highlighted the difficulties of early travel trailer engineering and served as a learning experience for future designs. Today, the 1954 Anderson trailer is remembered with a sense of nostalgia for its role in the history of travel trailers. While it may not have been the most practical or reliable choice for its time, it represents an important step in the evolution of mobile living and camping. For collectors and vintage enthusiasts, the Anderson trailer is a testament to the early days of travel trailer development, and its story underscores the ongoing quest for improving design and functionality in the world of recreational vehicles. The 1977 GMC Palm Beach was, in many ways, a bold statement in the world of recreational vehicles, RVs. It embodied the forward-thinking design ethos of the 1970s, when many companies were experimenting with futuristic aesthetics and innovative features. With its streamlined aerodynamic body and sleek lines, the Palm Beach immediately stood out on the road. It looked more like a spacecraft than a traditional RV, capturing the attention of those who wanted to travel in style. The design alone was enough to make it a head-turner at campgrounds and RV parks. But unfortunately, beneath its cutting-edge exterior, the 1977 Palm Beach was riddled with problems that tarnished its reputation and left many owners regretting their purchase. One of the most significant and recurring issues with the 1977 GMC Palm Beach was its suspension system. The vehicle was designed with a suspension that was supposed to offer a smooth and stable ride, even on long stretches of highway or rougher terrain. However, in practice, the suspension often failed to live up to expectations. The system was prone to failure, which led to an uncomfortable, jarring ride for passengers. Instead of gliding smoothly over bumps and imperfections in the road, the Palm Beach would bounce and sway, making the driving experience rough and at times nerve-wracking. This was especially problematic for an RV, where comfort is paramount, as owners spend extended periods traveling or living in the vehicle. The poor suspension system not only diminished the ride quality, but also raised concerns about the vehicle's overall safety and reliability, particularly on longer trips or when driving through less than ideal road conditions. Adding to the frustration of Palm Beach owners were the numerous engine problems that plagued the 1977 model. While the Palm Beach was equipped with a V8 engine designed to give it the power needed for a vehicle of its size and weight, it frequently failed to perform as expected. Many owners reported issues with overheating, which was especially problematic on longer journeys or in hot climates. The engine's cooling system was not up to the task of keeping the temperature in check, and this led to frequent breakdowns, particularly when the vehicle was pushed to its limits. Overheating wasn't the only issue. The Palm Beach was also notorious for poor fuel efficiency, which, in an era of rising fuel costs, made it even less appealing. The engine struggled to deliver reliable acceleration, and many owners found that it lacked the power needed to confidently tackle steep hills or highways, further adding to the stress of driving the RV. These engine problems were compounded by the fact that repairs and maintenance for the 1977 Palm Beach were often difficult and costly. Finding replacement parts for the engine or suspension system was a challenge, as many components were unique to this model and not readily available. This scarcity of parts meant that repairs often took longer than expected and came with a hefty price tag. For many owners, the cost of maintaining and repairing the Palm Beach quickly became prohibitive. What started as an exciting purchase for a life of adventure on the road turned into a financial burden, as repair bills stacked up. Owners soon realized that the initial investment in the Palm Beach was only the beginning, as the costs of keeping it roadworthy were ongoing and substantial. The interior design of the 1977 GMC Palm Beach also left much to be desired. While the exterior gave off an air of modern luxury, the inside of the RV didn't live up to the same standard. The layout of the interior space was poorly thought out, with cramped quarters that didn't make efficient use of the available space. Storage areas were insufficient for long trips, and many of the interior fixtures and furnishings were made from cheap materials that wore out quickly or broke after minimal use. Owners reported problems with everything from malfunctioning kitchen appliances to peeling upholstery, further diminishing the RV's value as a long-term travel solution. For a vehicle that was marketed as a high-end motorhome, the Palm Beach's interior fell short of the expectations set by its futuristic exterior. Beyond the mechanical and design flaws, the overall experience of owning a 1977 GMC Palm Beach was often marred by the realization that it was simply not built to withstand the demands of frequent, long-distance travel. While the vehicle looked impressive and promised to deliver a luxurious travel experience, it quickly became apparent to many owners that the Palm Beach was not cut out for the open road. The frequent breakdowns, high maintenance costs, and uncomfortable ride made it a poor choice for those looking to embark on extended road trips or spend significant time living in their RV. The 1967 Ford Ka was introduced with the promise of delivering an innovative and convenient travel experience, but it quickly became one of the most disappointing entries in the RV market of its time. Ford, aiming to expand its presence in the growing recreational vehicle industry, attempted to create a versatile, compact motorhome that could meet the demands of families and adventurers alike. However, despite its big ambitions and an outwardly appealing concept, the Ka was plagued with a series of mechanical and design failures that led to a less than enjoyable ownership experience. For many buyers, the dream of taking to the open road in their new Ford Ka was overshadowed by the constant frustration of breakdowns, repairs, and poorly executed interior design. One of the primary issues with the 1967 Ford Ka was its engine and transmission. Built on the foundation of a Ford chassis, the Ka was equipped with a powertrain that proved to be woefully underpowered for the vehicle's weight and purpose. Owners frequently reported engine failures and breakdowns, sometimes only after a short time on the road. The engine's unreliability became a notorious issue, as overheating was common, and in some cases the engine would stall or refuse to start, leaving travelers stranded in inconvenient locations. The transmission was another sore point, often suffering from malfunctions that made shifting gears difficult or even impossible. For a vehicle that was supposed to offer freedom and adventure, the Ford Ka's mechanical troubles frequently curtailed any sense of spontaneity, as owners often found themselves at the mercy of repair shops rather than exploring the countryside. The cost of maintaining the 1967 Ford Ka quickly became a significant burden for many of its owners. Frequent trips to the mechanic meant high repair bills, and the downtime associated with waiting for parts and fixes put a damper on planned vacations. Parts for the Ka were not always easy to come by, which further complicated the process of keeping the RV roadworthy. Many owners expressed frustration at the sheer number of mechanical problems they encountered, feeling that they spent more time fixing their vehicle than enjoying the freedom of the open road. In some cases, these issues occurred so frequently that owners were forced to consider whether it was worth keeping the Ka at all, as the joy of ownership was overshadowed by constant headaches and unplanned expenses. Beyond the mechanical failures, the 1967 Ford Ka also suffered from a poorly designed interior layout. While the exterior of the vehicle was compact and relatively stylish for an RV of its time, the interior failed to make efficient use of the limited space available. The layout felt cramped, with little thought given to how occupants would move and live within the vehicle during extended trips. Storage areas were minimal, and what little storage there was often proved difficult to access. The kitchen, bathroom, and sleeping areas were awkwardly positioned, leading to a lack of flow and functionality that made even simple tasks like preparing meals or getting ready for bed more complicated than they needed to be. For families or groups traveling together, the interior's inefficiencies only added to the frustration, as there simply wasn't enough room to comfortably accommodate everyone, particularly during longer journeys. The materials used in the construction of the 1967 Ford Kayo's interior were another source of disappointment. Owners quickly discovered that many of the fixtures and furnishings were made from cheap, flimsy materials that wore out quickly. Cabinet doors would come loose, countertops would chip, and seating surfaces would deteriorate after only a short period of use. These issues were compounded by the fact that, like the mechanical problems, interior repairs were often expensive and time-consuming, further diminishing the appeal of the Kayo as a practical and comfortable motorhome. The overall build quality of the RV was lacking, and it became clear to many buyers that the vehicle had been rushed to market without sufficient attention to detail or long-term durability. Despite its many flaws, the 1967 Ford Kayo did have its supporters. Some appreciated the vehicle's compact size, which made it easier to maneuver than larger motorhomes, particularly in tight campgrounds or on narrow roads. Additionally, the Kayo's design, at least from the outside, had a certain retro charm that appealed to those who were drawn to the aesthetics of 1960s RVs. For those willing to overlook or spend the time and money to fix the vehicle's many shortcomings, the Kayo offered a unique and affordable way to get out on the road. However, even the most enthusiastic owners often had to admit that the Kayo fell far short of its potential, with its numerous reliability and design issues detracting from the overall experience. The 1952 Vagabond travel trailer aimed to provide budget-conscious travelers with an affordable option to hit the road and explore the great outdoors. However, this focus on affordability came at a steep cost to quality and long-term reliability. Though the Vagabond brand had earned some recognition during its early years for producing trailers that appealed to middle-class families looking for a vacation on wheels, the 1952 model, in particular, struggled to meet the expectations of even the most casual travelers. What it offered in initial savings, it quickly lost in durability and construction, leading to a reputation that tarnished its appeal over time. One of the most glaring issues with the 1952 Vagabond trailer was its flimsy build quality. The walls were thin and poorly insulated, making the trailer vulnerable to the elements. Whether parked in a campground or on the road, owners often found that the trailer couldn't withstand even moderate weather conditions. The weak walls not only let in drafts during cold nights, but also allowed excess heat to penetrate during warmer days, making the interior uncomfortable for long stays. This lack of proper insulation and structural integrity became a constant annoyance for those who had hoped for a more reliable shelter in their travels. Wind gusts could rattle the trailer, and heavy rain often exposed the inadequacies of the roof, which many reported began to leak far sooner than expected. The weak frame of the 1952 Vagabond was another significant downfall. While other travel trailers on the market around that time were moving toward more robust, well-engineered designs, the Vagabond seemed to cut corners in this critical area. The frame's structural weaknesses made the trailer prone to wear and tear, especially when towed over rough roads. Many owners found that the frame would begin to bend or crack after just a few years of use, which resulted in alignment issues that made towing difficult and unsafe. The trailer's undercarriage wasn't built to handle the constant movement and vibration that came with long trips, causing frequent breakdowns and expensive repair bills. Durability, or the lack thereof, became one of the most common complaints about the 1952 Vagabond. Many of the trailers simply didn't last long enough to be considered a worthwhile investment. With proper care, a travel trailer should last decades, but the Vagabond often began showing signs of major deterioration within just a few years. Owners frequently reported that doors wouldn't close properly, windows would become misaligned, and the overall integrity of the trailer would degrade rapidly, especially after multiple uses. These early failures led to frustration, as what seemed like a good deal up front turned into a money pit of constant repairs and maintenance. The interior of the Vagabond also reflected the budget-minded design approach. The materials used inside were far from high quality, and they didn't stand up to the rigors of travel and regular use. Cabinet doors would loosen or fall off, countertops would warp, and flooring would peel after just a few trips. These interior features, meant to provide convenience and comfort, instead became sources of frustration as owners found themselves frequently repairing or replacing parts. The lack of attention to detail in the interior design also made the trailer feel less like a cozy home away from home and more like a hastily constructed box on wheels. Another point of dissatisfaction for Vagabond owners was the limited storage and awkward layout of the trailer. Despite being marketed as an efficient, family-friendly travel option, the 1952 Vagabond's design did not make good use of its available space. Storage areas were insufficient for longer trips, and the layout often felt cramped, leaving little room to move around. For families, the small and inefficient design of the trailer made it uncomfortable to spend extended time inside, especially during inclement weather when outdoor activities were not an option. What was meant to be a relaxing retreat from everyday life instead felt cramped and confining. Despite its many drawbacks, the 1952 Vagabond wasn't without its fans. Some owners appreciated the retro styling and compact size, which made it easier to tow compared to larger, heavier trailers. For those who didn't require a lot of space or comfort and who were willing to overlook the build quality issues, the Vagabond provided a bare-bones option for short-term travel. In the post-war era, when many families were looking for affordable ways to vacation, the Vagabond filled a niche, albeit imperfectly. For weekend trips or short getaways, the trailer was passable, but for anyone looking for long-term durability or comfort, it fell short. The 1965 Clark Cortez was, in many ways, a trailblazer in the world of motorhomes, as it was one of the earliest models to feature front-wheel drive. This innovation aimed to make it more maneuverable and accessible for everyday drivers, distinguishing it from the larger, bulkier, rear-wheel drive RVs of its time. Clark Equipment Company, which had a reputation for building industrial machinery, ventured into the recreational vehicle market with high hopes for the Cortez. Unfortunately, despite its forward-thinking design, the Cortez was marred by a range of technical problems that overshadowed its innovations, making it one of the least dependable motorhomes of its era. One of the primary issues with the 1965 Clark Cortez was its transmission. While front-wheel drive was indeed an innovative feature for a motorhome in the 1960s, the transmission system used to power the Cortez was not up to the task of handling the weight and demands of a fully loaded RV. Owners frequently reported problems with the transmission slipping, failing to engage, or outright breaking down during trips. This created a major headache for those who planned to use the Cortez for long-distance travel, as it left them stranded or in need of costly repairs more often than they expected. The engine, another critical component, was equally problematic. The 1965 Cortez was powered by a 2.8-liter slant-6 engine, which, while sufficient for some smaller vehicles, struggled under the weight of the motorhome. One of the most common complaints from owners was the engine's tendency to overheat, especially during long trips or in hot weather conditions. This overheating issue made the Cortez unreliable for extended road trips, which is precisely what it was designed for. Motorhome owners often found themselves stopping frequently to let the engine cool down, or worse, dealing with engine failures that required immediate mechanical attention. The constant worry of engine overheating took much of the joy out of owning what was supposed to be a vehicle for carefree travel and exploration. In addition to the transmission and engine troubles, the 1965 Clark Cortez also had a reputation for being difficult to repair. Because the company was primarily known for its industrial vehicles, the parts for the Cortez were not as readily available as they were for more mainstream RVs. This meant that when owners did experience mechanical failures, they often had to wait longer for specialized parts to be ordered, and repair costs could skyrocket due to the need for specific expertise to work on the vehicle. The Cortez was not a vehicle that a typical mechanic could easily fix, which added another layer of frustration for owners who were hoping for a more hassle-free experience. The combination of an unreliable transmission, an overheating engine, and difficulty in sourcing parts made the 1965 Clark Cortez a challenging motorhome to own. While its front-wheel drive innovation was impressive for the time, the vehicle's overall lack of dependability outweighed its potential benefits. For those who managed to maintain their Cortez in good working order, the compact design and maneuverability were certainly attractive features, allowing for more versatility on the road compared to larger RVs. However, the technical issues far outweighed the positive aspects for most owners, making the Cortez more of a mechanical burden than a reliable travel companion. The layout of the Cortez was another point of contention among buyers. While its compact size made it more manageable to drive than larger motorhomes, the interior space felt cramped, and the overall design didn't make efficient use of the available room. The kitchen and living areas were often cited as being too small to be practical for long trips, and the lack of storage space made it difficult to pack for extended adventures. What was meant to be a comfortable mobile home on wheels instead felt more like a confined space that limited the joy of road tripping. Despite its mechanical shortcomings, the 1965 Clark Cortez still holds a place in motorhome history for its attempt to innovate. Its front-wheel drive design paved the way for more maneuverable RVs in the future, and some vintage motorhome enthusiasts still appreciate the model for its unique place in the evolution of recreational vehicles. However, for the average buyer in the 1960s, the Cortez was more trouble than it was worth. Its technical problems made it one of the least dependable motorhomes of the time. And there you have it, 15 of the worst American RVs and motorhomes from the 1950s to the 1970s. While the open road promises freedom and adventure, these RVs were more likely to leave you stranded and frustrated. Whether it was due to poor design, unreliable mechanics, or just plain bad luck, these RVs missed the mark. Let us know in the comments if you've ever come across one of these infamous models.